Thank you very much. Greetings, everybody. This is the Sconset Advisory Board Monday meeting of July 26th, 2021. And I'm calling this meeting to order. I'm going to forgo the reading of the governor's orders, but I will note that we are meeting by Zoom. And oops. And sorry, just one second. Okay, I'm going to do a roll call of members present. When I call your name, members, please respond. Carolyn Ellis.
Yes.
Thank you. Mary Lathrop Will.
Yes. Good morning.
Thank you. And good morning, Angus McLeod.
Here.
Thank you. And Clement Durkees.
Here.
Thank you. And for the everybody know, Angus McLeod is taking our notes today, which is good for all of us. Okay. Let's see. On that. Okay. I take a motion for the adoption of the.
I didn't quite get that.
All right. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, thank you, everybody. And I'll take a motion to the adoption. Oh, I just did that, didn't I? Approval of the minutes that deed forward to us.
Yeah, I'll propose that, Mary. A second.
Mary proposes that. Okay, fine. I'm going to just do. All right, thank you. I'm just going to do a roll call. It's easier than everybody shouting out at once.
Okay.
How do you vote, Caroline?
Yes.
Thank you, Mary Lathrop. Thank you,
Yes.
Angus.
Aye.
Thank you, Clement.
Yes.
Durkees.
Yes.
Thank you, and Rob is yes. It's motion mode seconded, and it's unanimous. I don't see any. Okay. Let's move on to the first item on the agenda, which is 63 Burnell Street for the new main house. I think we saw this a few sessions ago. Is this Holly, do you know, is this basically the same application, or is it just for the house?
Holly, I can speak to it. I'm here.
Thank you, Andrew. I believe this is just for the house, correct?
Just for the house, we actually made a revision really to the front gable end is really the only change that we made. Whereas before we had submitted an asymmetrical gable on the west elevation, and the side mass had a 4-pitch roof on it, and we changed that roof pitch to a 9-pitch. And those are really the only changes from the previous submission.
Can we see the comparison? I honestly don't feel like there's much difference.
There's very little difference. The application is still yet to be heard by the HDC. So this is just a revision since it's been like 2 months since we submitted based on the timing. There's very little change, but it's a little bit more, I think, appropriate for the area without the asymmetrical gable facing the street. It's fairly similar to several houses that we've done in the area that have all been approved recently.
This is Mary. I still have an objection to that second-story porch on the north side. It seems freestanding. That's one of our major concerns before.
Yes, Mary, I think you're right, Mary. Yeah. Angus, you wanted to say something?
I noticed that there are there's basement fenestration, but there isn't any indication of a sunken area or a railing or fence that encloses it. Can you speak to that, Joe? Oh, sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, we're intending to potentially slope the grade in that area and then have a lot of plantings around it. That would be done in the landscape plan. The idea would be to have any railing that was there hidden behind plantings, but not something that is exposed or visible. So it would show up in the landscape plan, not part of this drawing.
No.
It's very far back from the street too as well. I don't think there'd be any visibility from it at all.
It seems like we should see a, a profile picture of what happens with the grade as you're proposing. Just to see what happens there, existing grade and changed grade.
Sure. Okay.
But I think I don't have the comments that we had before in front of me, but I think we had a concern about the amount of shingle area in the gable, the freestanding deck, the chimney looks a bit awkward coming up from the eaves there. I don't think that that's going to be visible, but it does, if that were possible to be gas or something where you don't have the chimney coming up, it seems kind of awkward. And the outdoor shower with the horizontal boarding is atypical of Nantucket outdoor showers. Usually that's vertical boarding.
Okay.
Great.
Do we see a comparison? This is Caroline, between the two? There are no balloons, no indication of change?
Right, there's
I'm
no
sorry.
changes because these have not been before. You all reviewed these on, this is how many applications are before the commission. July 12th.
Yeah.
And these have not been before the commission. So again, Andrew is bringing it to your attention. I can briefly read the comments that Mary had sent so you all can juggle your memory. Let's see. Generally, we found the plans drawn by APT to be unsympathetic to the character of the neighborhood. Citing two structures flanking the driveway from Brunel Street before reaching the main dwelling creates an urban approach to a house in a rural setting. While we had no concerns about the shed, which is planned for the north flank of the approach, the two-story garage studio on the south flank is badly proportioned, too tall and skinny. As a purposeless pergola over the garage door where a shed roof would be better served to camouflage the looming height of the structure. In addition to the tower-like aspect of the garage, it is free-floating second-story deck without support mass is very ungainly. We thought this said deck was in the guidelines of not what to do. Double shower shown beneath the deck within view of Brunel Street was also a concern. With respect to the main house, most of the comments refer to the west facing facade of home entry. We thought the second floor windows would be better spread across the facade, and an attic window for light could be centered in the gable peak. The northwest second story balcony freestanding as shown should not be approved. Mentioned that already. We questioned lowering the eco dairy gable on the north side, perhaps even reversing it so that it was perpendicular to the main gable. And finally, our feeling is that 6/6 windows are more representative of the Sconset vernacular compared to the contemporary single light favored by APT. So those are to refresh your memory on your comments.
Holly, may I just mention that eco dairy is my computer's idea of the word secondary. So it
I was wondering.
I wish I could train it not to ever autocorrect because
That's
It's
funny. I
thank
thought
you.
that was maybe a new term that I was unaware of. after
no,
30
it
years.
would be
Okay.
secondary, not
Thank
eco.
you. So, Andrew, again, I apologize. What exactly were the changes from this one to that one?
So the only change is on the west elevation. The
Yep.
windows were actually spread out more equally on the second floor. And previously that facing gable was an asymmetrical gable with a lower eave line on the right-hand side towards the one-story mass.
Okay.
So instead, we just brought that up and created more of a center balanced gable. Additionally, the 1-story mass off to the right-hand side of this west elevation had a 4-pitch roof on it with a hip. And we've now changed it to a 9-pitch roof gable, which you can see if you go down to the next elevation. If you go down to the next page on the south elevation. That's the change. And that's it. Everything else is exactly the same. Because I actually didn't have these comments when I sort of subbed this in, but I understand them all.
So I would, this is Rob. So I guess that our comments would pretty much stay the same from the last time.
Yep. Fair enough.
With
Okay.
Angus's add-on about the shower.
Yep, I got that.
Horizontal versus, yeah, good.
Also the existing and proposed grade would be helpful.
Yes, at the window well. Fair enough. Yep.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. This is Rob. We're going to move to item number 2. Mark Burlingham, 15 Beach for some additional fencing. Yeah, there's the, this is Rob. I just seeing the existing fencing is what's in the color photograph at the top left.
Uh-huh. And my only question here, Rob, this is Mary, is that I believe the application said, and this is on the agenda, it said gate and fencing, but I don't see any gate being shown.
Correct. I can address that.
Okay.
Brenda from Joe Topham's office had emailed Kadim and I this morning to say that it should only be for a fence, not a gate, and that was her error. So we'll just
Okay.
reflect that. Yep.
Good to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody have any thoughts about this proposal? It's as we know, it's a little tight down there, but
Phew, yeah.
It looks like a continuation of what's existing, what's been approved, so I don't have any concerns.
No concern for Mary.
No
Uh,
concern for Clement. It won't be seen. It just really seems to box in Gone Native even more. And I think we had an objection to kind of fences between neighborhoods when we were talking about the New Street and Bunker Hill Road. We were talking about
Yes.
fencing that we didn't like that. We used to use hedges, but this seems fine to me. I think the Gone Native people put in the existing part, so the Burlinghams are just continuing it.
No objection, Caroline.
thank you. It's Rob. No objections. All right. Thank you, everybody. Moving to 11 Front Street, the Arve's house for like-kind windows.
So
I
you
believe
all
that-
are aware that like-kind window replacements within the 2 old historic districts do not go through staff and require commission review for approval. So that's why
I
this
don't-
is before the commission.
I don't have a problem with it. All of mine have rotted from the same era.
This is Mary. I have no problem.
This is Angus.
Clement-
Oh, sorry.
Well, Clement has no problem, so I guess now it's your turn. Thank you.
I don't have an issue with them being replaced, that they look relatively new. My only issue would be with the storm panels that are on that. Sometimes I'll do that when windows are in the back or on the side or something. But this kind of storm panel makes the buttons look like snap-in grills, which sometimes is worse than a simulated divided light. So that's my only comment.
Great, thank you. This is Rob. I'm okay with this. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. All right, now 13 Low Beach Road, Sea Wing LLC. And this is for that first application, which is the main house addition, which I believe is on the west, the sort of just mostly backside. Yeah, on the west end. While you're finding that page, Holly, I just thought it was interesting looking at the drawings about the railings on the back in the little courtyard. Yeah, right there. Didn't know that that was on that house. Of course, you don't see it from the street, but.
We probably wouldn't approve them now, but honestly, they look fine.
I know.
But you don't really see them.
No. Well, in my mind, this application begins with the demolition of the existing garage and then segues to approval of the new addition. But that's not how it's
Yeah,
described here, but you know, they have to demolish what exists, the existing kind of shed garage in order to build this new addition.
do we know when the existing garage to be demolished was built? I mean, is
That's
it
on the next, that's on the next application.
okay, but we didn't receive that, did we?
No, it's,
Yeah, we
it's, you're gonna be reviewing it as well.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
No problem.
This is Rob. I'm seeing that Joe from Smith and Hutton is joined us. Shall we? I invite him to.
Mr. Chair, can I suggest that we start with
Yeah.
the garage
Yeah.
demolition and then move through the proposed?
Yes, yes, please. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Holly, if you could bring up the garage, that'd be great.
Okay.
It looks like from the photographs that that this was all built at once, the house and the garage in the 30s. Joe, do you know if that's correct?
I think Joe's
I'll speak for Joe. Yes, that seems to be correct. Our research suggests that they were built simultaneously.
So this is Angus. My concern is that usually the outbuildings or auxiliary buildings are built after the fact, later periods, sometimes much later. But since this is built with the house originally, I would much rather see the new program be incorporated in that structure, or the structure be moved to the back and used for the shed instead of a new shed built.
Thank you, Angus. The photograph that's on the screen on the left side, is that the other end of the garage?
Yes, that's the elevation that faces the rear of the property.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
How could it be east?
I think those are switched, but
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was referring to the right elevation. The right elevation was the west elevation with the garage doors.
Faces the street.
No, the garage doors face the rear of the
No.
property, not the street.
Oh,
North side.
Mhm. You actually have to drive down the driveway, make a circle and turn in order to enter the garage.
So, so nice. How lovely.
They were very concerned about visibility of those garage doors.
that is neighborly.
That is neighborly. We wish we could hold this up. This should be the standard.
I'd like to just quick jump in and add, based on the 1935 aerial, it looks like that shed, that little lean-to where the propane was added later.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Thank you for this historic information as well. Much appreciated.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, these are great photos. Is that possible, you guys? Jennifer or Joe, to somehow incorporate the program into that existing garage or use that on the back of the property?
To answer your second question first, unfortunately, that structure is too large and we have very limited ground coverage with which to work. So that shed that we are proposing as an accessory structure is not counted towards the ground coverage. We had several contractors evaluate the condition of the existing structure, and they felt that too much would need to be modified in order to make it habitable, and that it would be better and more economical to start fresh.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, thank you. It would be very helpful, I think, for the HDC Commission when they review this to see, if at all possible, photos of the interior. Based on your comments, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so with our sort of general feeling about trying to maybe reuse the building, is it time to move to the new house? Or
Sure.
Does that go with, is all right with everybody? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, the main house addition, not the new house, the addition.
On the catalog, it's Doug, D-O-U-G, Ellis, E-L-L-I-S. You wanted the address.
Okay, somebody's speaking, but we can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Rob, I'm happy to start.
Okay, thanks, Angus, go ahead.
I think because this is off to the side and in the back, it has the least amount of presence that it could have. So I commend the design where it is and what it is. It's the way it's stepped back. Normally, we wouldn't want to see the telegraphing or the telescoping of the additive massing getting smaller, and then getting bigger again. But because it's mostly obstructed by the house and the distance back from the road and from the front, I don't have an issue with it.
Thank you, Angus. This is Rob. I had a similar reaction. I think there was a sort of a 3/4 aerial view, that a rendering, and it seemed to, from my memory, it seemed to have that feeling of it. It's definitely an addition, but it's not. It's subordinate and it's far enough away from the main mass and the main house to be separate, but also the architecture makes it feel like it's a cousin. So it looked pretty nice to me.
Yeah,
And that connector there, that's inside the courtyard, correct?
Correct.
Pretty much, yeah.
It'll be
that,
added to the left.
gotcha. Yeah, there we are.
Well, I think it's sort of a breezeway. It's on both sides with doors on both sides. I think it's very attractive.
I did too.
yeah, I commend them. This is Mary. I think this is entirely in keeping. I think they've maintained the integrity of the main structure, and I can, yeah, I mean, I think it's good. They're not messing the main structure in order to provide Priscilla with year-round living in a space that's, you know, ecologically friendly. Makes sense.
Yeah. All right, thank you, everybody. And we should do the shed now, and keeping in mind the potential of reusing the existing garage. But if you move to the shed, that'd be great. Thank you, Holly. Oh, yeah.
I will note this, understand it's a proposed zoning shed, so you're not utilizing your ground cover for it, which obviously everybody has the ability to do if they've got, you know, the room, but it is kind of sad at the same time to lose the existing structure to accommodate it, so.
Holly, I've got a question. It's unrelated to design review, but in a situation like this, is there any chance of sort of a zoning variance to be able to save a historic structure if the ground cover is going over? Like, this is 100 square feet and the garage is, I'm not sure what, but let's say it's 200 square feet and they've only got 100 to go with. Is there any precedent for being able to keep a historic structure and get a variance for it?
I don't know the precedent because I have not been involved with the zoning board of appeals, but you know, that's what they do. They issue variances for things of that nature. So it would definitely be something that, you know, could be looked into if they would favor that or not. I would, from a planning perspective, overall planning perspective, it would make sense to retain it.
Thanks, Holly.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is Clement. I'll just add another comment to that. If we say that someone said that little wart on the side of the garage was added later. It was next to the tank. And so if that were removed and it was just the rectangle of the garage, see that little thing, then they could just move the rectangle of the garage back and make that the shed. I think that would be a great solution. Less debris going to the land bank, and since it was built at the same time, you know, the buildings are kept together on the same property.
Thank you, Clement. Yeah, this is Rob. It would seem just on the zoning and planning aspect, if I may, if it stays a garage or stays just a storage building, that wouldn't count necessarily as living space. And that's just a comment from the zoning angle. Okay. All right. Oh, wait, I guess we have to make a,
No,
as the design of the shed. Are we okay with that?
Design's fine.
I don't have any concerns about the design of the shed.
Great. I like those doors.
The doors are great. Can we go back and say we don't want the garage demolished, Ken?
I think that's the last thing we're reviewing, Caroline.
Okay, I just didn't want it to get away.
Okay, so where are we now, folks? I'm sorry to be a little disjointed here.
Oh, the next application, the last one for this is the demo.
Yep, which is right before you.
Okay. Duh, thank you. Well, this is Rob. I think, you know, if we could save this and incorporate it, that would be the best.
This is Mary. I think Angus's suggestion is an elegant solution. Get a zoning variance, which is warranted by the fact that they're not going to be destroying historic material and adding it to the landfill. And, you know, for 100 square feet, why not?
Great. Any other comments?
I just
Caroline or-
agree.
Caroline, you would disagree, Clement?
No, I agree.
Oh, I agree, Caroline.
Thank you. Rob concurs as well. Thank you. All right, well, we'll be sure to make these items known to the HDC when this particular application comes up.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 36 Low Beach Road. Peter O'Brien for revision, I think, on that, one of those outbuildings.
The guest house.
The guest house, the GH, yes, the GH revision.
Nope.
It's a real mixed bag for Low Beach. Sometimes we get it,
It is.
sometimes we don't.
I know. The first one is so pretty.
So this is a previously approved, and they're changing the windows and one of the doors.
So the
And I-
north is what faces Low Beach Road?
So hard to tell down there because the road goes cockamamie through the compass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So as you're going away from Sconset, you're really gonna have a view of that north side. My
There's-
concern is that the windows are too small on the
Too
first
small.
floors. If you look at the windows that are in the previously approved north elevation, that seems to be the right scale. And if they want to reduce the number, that, you know, that's fine, but I think it needs to stay the larger scale that the flanking doors in the approved plan are.
I agree. This is Mary.
Yeah.
So make the two windows on both sides the same size as the ones they're taking out that were next to the door. Just make them a little bit longer.
Uh-huh.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. It does look a little funny with them, with the smaller ones, unless they've got two bathrooms in there.
So would the new windows, would you all think that the new windows ought to be about the size of the lights in the door? I mean, the size of the glass in the door? That, yeah.
Honestly, I think that the 2/2s get to be really long panes. But throughout the house, those larger, longer, narrow windows were previously approved. So, I mean, if they could make it as wide as the glass in the door, that would be great. But I was just looking at the windows that were already approved.
On the south elevation, for instance?
The south and the west, and
Right.
even on the north.
Mhm.
Uh-huh, right. Interesting, it's kind of a farmhousey feel.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how much you'll see the rest of the fenestration changes. So
Yeah, so.
all right, great. Any other thoughts from the commission? From the advisory board, excuse me. We're not the commission yet.
Careful, yeah.
I think not.
All right, thank you very much. We're gonna move to item number 8, 23 Baxter. For an office addition on the, oh, that was the Parry House and it got moved to the south lot.
Hi,
There's Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
here for any questions.
Great.
This is, yeah, it's basically taking an existing office that is currently on the property and enlarging it. Single story mass.
Yeah,
Can I ask Lisa how many feet out it's going? I have a
I
hard time.
believe, hold on, Holly, could you go to the plan? I think it's 4 feet. Because I believe it currently it lines up with the porch.
With the
So
porch,
part of
yeah,
that
that's what I was,
elevation- Yeah,
that's
the
what I
east
was
elevation.
trying to, I think it juts out a little bit from the porch, but it was just hard for me to see.
Oh, you know what? I don't think it currently does because we've infilled that porch area
Mhm.
as an afterthought. It made the office. So I'm pretty
Oh.
sure that the roof used to, did
And
currently,
right there.
yeah, continues straight through. So we're coming out about 4 feet. You can see it best on the east elevation.
Mhm.
Good job, Lisa. This is a great example of how to do a sensitive addition on a historic house. You're working with the existing roof lines and massing and fenestration scale. It looks great.
Well, thank you, Angus. And I think, we had done the previous edition as well, which I think was very successful. It's been years, but, I've always loved the house. And I think the Simmons do it justice in terms of their affection for it, which is great.
yeah, I think this is Rob. I think it's you mentioned the affection. I think the affection is apparent, just as a side comment. But as for this, I think it's well within reason, and we should all make our offices bigger.
His office was quite small, actually, but again, it was sort of an afterthought at the time. It was like, well, we have the porch here, we can fill in this corner easily. And it wasn't very big. And, I can certainly see why he would like it a little bit larger.
Most of it didn't know we were going to stay longer and longer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is
Great.
Mary. I have no
yeah.
objection. If anything, I think it's an improvement. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it before, but now it's even better.
Adds a little more dimension to it, maybe.
Yeah,
on that side,
really nice.
yeah.
For what it's worth, I agree with Angus. It's very sensitively done. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, you're welcome.
Great. This is Rob. Any other comments on this application? Great. Thank you very
guys.
much.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm checking our list here. Great. Whoops. Hang on. Okay, if there's no other comments or impressions or anything, I will make a motion to, I will take a motion to accept the comments we have made for each of these items.
So moved.
Thank you, Angus is an aye. All those in favor, I'll do a roll call. Caroline Ellis,
Yes.
thank you. Mary Lathrop Will,
Yes.
Clement Durkes,
Yes,
thank you. Rob Benchley is a yes. And I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion, Mary.
Second.
Could
I-
Angus.
Could I
Thank
make a comment? I don't know.
Yes.
It's too late, maybe. Is it too
Yes.
late?
Yes, no, it is not. We have not adjourned.
Can we gather examples of what we think is lovely for Sconset? I mean, is there a way to say this is what we think is lovely? Without
Let's write it
saying
in the minutes.
this is what.
Let's
Yeah,
just write-
somehow. Could we pull that together somehow? Could we get a grant? Could we get something? I don't know, Holly, you know best.
Yeah,
well, can I jump in here? Because I
Please.
know that SAP has requested that we do a survey of the various architectural areas in Sconset and try to have a professional do this for us with what we feel are appropriate and desirable elements to be reincorporated into any changes in various neighborhoods. So I hope that all gets approved and that I can say that the Sconset Trust is all in favor of that. So with that, we're hoping to work forward towards that, Caroline.
So when we see something like this, we could make the comment to please include it.
Sure, I think so. Why not?
I just think for us, maybe that would be more encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
this
Please
is Rob
include this.
that, right. This is Rob to that issue, to that point. This would be a great example of where the area plan and the advisory board and the trust can all have a meeting amongst ourselves and figure out some of these things. And if we come up with something that may need approval or something or comment, we could submit it. I don't think that that's a conflict, but it certainly shouldn't be. And we could maybe work through Holly to see if where it would go from there.
The west and this one.
Mr. Chair, it
again?
sounds like there's two things that that we're discussing. One, what Caroline's bringing up is showing what is historically pleasing as far as additions and alterations to structures. And then another, I think Clement's talking about what the Sconset area plan, which is going through obviously the planning and updating process for the master plan, is wanting to survey. Are you looking at historic structures wanting to survey, or am I misinterpreting?
Well,
that?
I believe we're attempting to do both, Holly, where we can update our main survey, but also have kind of a design guideline for our various neighborhoods so that we know that Codfish Park and Main Street and Patrick Street and all have their own separate elements that fit in. So we want to make kind of an organized list of the differences in each of these neighborhoods.
Okay, almost like three topics. But on the topic of
Yes,
surveys,
exactly.
on the topic of surveys, just for Sconset Advisory's knowledge, there's two of you that are on this board that are also on the Historical Commission. You know that we received federal funding as a CLG to update our surveys. That includes an area, a survey plan. How are we going to do this for the entire island? It's so that obviously includes Sconset. So
Yes.
just wanted to notate that for everyone.
Yes, thank you.
I'm
Sconset will
thinking
be
of a winners list.
Yes, and that's what I thought you were talking about, Caroline.
Yeah.
I think that is a great idea.
Great. Excellent.
Mr. Chair, I do see Joe. I think we can let him know that you all already looked at the application for down on Codfish Park.
Great.
You're all set, Joe. And with that, I guess you all already made the motion
We're-
for adjourning.
I'll second.
Yes. That's a second from Caroline. Motion to adjourn is made and seconded. I'll take the roll on this. Clement Durkees.
Yes.
Thank you. Angus McLeod.
Hi.
Mary Lathrop.
Yes.
Thank you. Caroline Ellis.
Yes.
And
Thank
Rob
you,
Benjamin is
Holly.
yes.
Thank you
Holly,
all.
thank you.
You're
I think
welcome.
I'm going to be able, I